Hey, so today we're going to talk about cooking on a budget. So if you have a family that you're cooking for, or you're a college student and you're looking for cheap ways to make some food that's, practical, today we're going to talk about one of the things that you can do. So as you can see, I've got a huge amount of chicken legs here. And every once in a while at our local grocery store, we have this really great sale on chicken legs. So as you can see, I have my giant roaster. It is heaping full with chicken legs. I'll tell you guys how much is in here actually. It's 11.4 pounds of chicken legs here. And we paid $8.99 for all of this chicken. That's a lot of food right here that you guys can make so many different creations from. So I'm gonna have a couple of little hints for you guys first of all. Cooking on a budget sometimes can be a little difficult. This is what I like to do, and I have a couple suggestions which will help you out. Every once in a while, our local grocery store or your local grocery store will have these really great bulk sales, whether it's on meat, canned soups, pasta, whatever it is. And I've gone into a grocery store where I'm like, oh man, I wish I'd have an extra 10 bucks because I would so buy a case of tomato soup or a case of canned tomatoes or a really big crazy deal box of chicken legs. But sometimes that's not always the case. When you go into a grocery store, you have a budget, whatever it is, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, and little things that you might want to buy, you can't because it's over budget. It's frustrating. So one of my first tips I'm going to give you is every pay period, put $5 into a little can and keep it aside. Because if all of a sudden a really great deal pops up, you will not regret not buying it because you have that little bit socked away. $5 isn't much, but over 3 months, you could buy yourself a couple cases of soup with that. So just keep that little hint in mind. So we have bought this massive box of frozen chicken legs. Of course, we cannot eat these all at once. It's only 2 of us here. Even when our boys were living at home, we could not eat 11 pounds of chicken legs at one time. This is what I do, and this is a really great super hint, these guys are still partially frozen. I'll take them, I'll defrost them as much as I can. When you get a big clump of meat, it doesn't always want to thaw as fast as you want it to. So I will put them into my big roaster. If you do not have a big roaster like this, if you can find one at a thrift store, I suggest get it. But if you don't have the space in your oven, because some people don't, those those tin foil pans, 2 of those higher ones you use for lasagna, those are a great alternative. You might have to do double. You might have to do, it's okay guys. You might have to do 2 different batches to make sure you get them all. But one of those great tin foil pans or a couple of them covered with tin foil will work as well. So I put them all into my roaster. These guys are partially frozen. What I'm going to do next is, actually originally I put oil on the bottom because you don't want them sticking. I'm going to put a little bit of oil, just a little bit of oil on top again. And this is a wonderful little hint because what the oil is going to do, or butter or whatever you use, it's going to hold your seasoning onto the top of that meat. I've seen it before. People are making a roast or making a turkey, and they will put their turkey or their roast into a pan, and then they'll put their seasoning on, and then they'll put water over top. Well, you just wash all that seasoning down to the bottom of your pan. It's not really going to season it through. So next, I am going to sprinkle it with salt. I always use a coarse salt because I don't know, I just do. I like it. And I'm going to put ground pepper over top of that. Give you guys a little peek of what I got going on here. So as I said, these guys are partially frozen. You can cook them from frozen or you can cook them from thawed. As long as you're cooking them, when you check the internal temperature, is 180 degrees Fahrenheit for cooked chicken. 180 or 185, I believe it's 180. You want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. I'm going to throw my lid on my little roaster. I'm going to put it into my 375 degree oven for an hour and a half, hour 45. If these guys were cooked already, I would say put them in your oven for 80 to 85 minutes. But because they're still partially frozen, I want to make sure they're done. I will check them at about the hour 15 mark to see what temperature they're at on the inside. But yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roast them up, and then when they're done, I will tell you guys what my next step is. Thanks. So I've taken the legs out of the oven, and they are still lots in this wonderful little roaster. There's going to be a lot of water, especially if you cook them from frozen, which is okay because we can just pop those legs out of there and keep that juice if you want for making a soup stock, which would be really good. or get rid of it. I would keep it though, I think, as a soup stock. So anyway, they're all cooked. They've reached the internal temperature of 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So these babies are totally safe to eat right now if you want. Or what I do is I take a big Ziploc freezer bag, one of the really big large bags, and I put so many into the bag. So let's say you have a family of 5, maybe you want to put like, I don't know, 15 into a bag, and we freeze them. And then of course after they're cooled. But what we can do then with these legs is I can use them in soup. I can throw barbecue sauce on them and broil them in the oven. So we've got the fun little barbecue chicken legs. You can actually dredge them in flour and salt and pepper and onion powder and all those favorite seasonings you have. And you can actually fry them again and crisp them up and make them into something a little different. So an easy way to live on a budget, buying food in bulk, but it's not fancy food. It's not chicken breasts, it's chicken legs, but you can do so many things with them. Use them for stir fry. 101 things you can do with them. So that's what we do. We live on a budget. $8.99 I think it was for this box of 11 pounds of chicken legs. That's a lot of meals for a family or for a college student who is looking for a good meal on a budget. That's what we do. Thanks, guys.